Today's episode is brought to you by Checkfront, the booking platform trusted by over 5,000 tour and activity operators around the world. You can start your own free 21-day trial over at checkfront.com.
Welcome to the Tourpreneur podcast. Travel industry veteran Shane Whaley will take you on a journey with fellow tourpreneurs, sharing their tips, ideas, insights, and success stories to inspire you to make your tour business the best it can be. And now, please welcome your host, Shane.
And welcome to Tourpreneur at Arrival, presented by Checkfront. Welcome to the show. Tom Kratsch, how are you?
I'm awesome. It's great.
You represent TRK Creative Group. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so TRK Creative Group and Activities and Tours Marketing, we're a digital marketing company focused on just activities and tours. So we don't do plumbers and lawyers and doctors and all the other stuff, right? So we just do activities and tours, and we niche down on that business. So we understand it really well. And we're a digital marketing company, so our focus is on direct customer acquisition, right? So we want to drive direct guests and preferably get them to book online with our partners, with our activity and tour companies, clients that we have. But we also know that there's also offline sales, right? There's call sales that are being sourced direct that come into a business. So our goal is to increase your guest counts and revenues by using best-in-class and strategic marketing to do that. So
I love that. I follow you online, and I love that you are specializing in our industry because we do speak a different language.
Right.
And even when I moved to this industry from many years in the hotel industry, it's another dialect again, if you will, with tours and activities. And I come across a lot of digital marketers out there, or I speak to Tourpreneur listeners who've hired digital marketers who, they may know that marketing side, but they don't know our industry. They don't know the landscape. How did you build up your chops in the tour and activities industry?
Yeah, experience, right? So, 25 years in the travel and tourism industry. It's been my whole career, right? So whether it's been on the cruise tour, vacation package side of the business. And we saw this, 20 years ago, like with hotels, right? So when you look at like OTAs and you look at the rise of, e-commerce and internet in travel and tourism, right? The shifts in the focus that have come from air, car, hotel, cruise lines, right, and the business and how it's shifted and the focus has been, and then tools and technology that's driven that, right? And we're seeing that shift today where activity and tours has always kind of been left, they haven't had a venue like Arrival, right, to talk about it and focus just on that piece of the market, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think there's a lot to learn from the past with others in the business, whether it was a hotelier or whether it was, a car rental company or a cruise line, for example. And that brings us to today where we are and the shift of that focus to drive direct business, right? And the OTAs have been around for quite a few years. Expedia, was one of the original ones, back in the day, Travelocity, Priceline, Orbitz, you name it, right? And they were all attached to the hotel business. And so they were the dog wagging the tail, right? Versus the tail wagging the dog and these kinds of things. And so, I think our focus now today is helping small, medium, and large, activity and tour companies really take a 360-degree view look of their business. So we do a lot of marketing consulting along with we're doers and teachers and educators of the business. And so we do a lot of consulting with our business owners and looking at, all of their channels, online direct and OTA, third-party resellers. Yeah.
So what advice do you have for tourpreneurs? I spoke to many of them this week who actually said, the reason I'm here is I want to get better at marketing. I want to hire a marketing agency. I've got some meetings. And many of our tourpreneurs don't come from a marketing background, right? They have a passion for breweries and wine and history and whatever it may be. What advice would you be to our listeners who want to go and speak to, or they want to go and find a reputable digital marketing agency?
Yeah, I think it's education, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? You may have access to your Google Analytics account, but you're not a Google Analytics expert, right? You don't know what all of these data points mean and how it relates to my business, right? And how do you measure marketing performance? For us, it's all about if you're spending money on marketing, whether it's online or offline, maybe Google Ads, and maybe Facebook advertising, and maybe a brochure in the marketplace. How do you measure this? You're spending time, energy, money, resources on all of it, right? And what you care about is anybody looking at it? And, if they're looking at it, are they taking action? And the action you want them to take is to book a tour, right? You want to increase your guest counts and your revenues. So how do you look at that? And then how do you measure that performance, right? If I'm going to spend money on a brochure, I've got graphic design costs, I've got distribution costs, I've got energy and resources put into it. Well, you want to know, is anybody, seeing the phone number and calling and making a booking? Is anybody visiting your URL, your domain name on the brochure, and then going to your website and making a booking? And we track all of that.
What can you do with your reservation software? Take online bookings and payment, manage your inventory, automate processes, and view reports and insights? Yeah, of course. But can you also send digital waivers, build a stunning website, and get help around the clock? What about optimize your booking channels, diversify your distribution, use your favorite tools, and choose your pricing model? With Checkfront, you can. One booking platform, limitless possibilities. Find out more at checkfront.com.
How does a tourpreneur know if a digital marketing agency is actually reputable and can help them? Because there's a lot of people out there, they do a quick certification online and they're suddenly a digital marketing ninja. How do our listeners, avoid that pitfall of hiring someone who may not be up to scratch?
Yeah, I think it's asking a lot of questions, right?
What kind of questions should they be asking?
Exactly. So asking a lot of questions about how the digital marketing views performance. How do they measure performance? Do they have expertise in the activity and tour market? Listen, you have to know a lot about all the booking engine companies, right? So you may have your own website with Fair Harbor or Peak or Zola, built into that website, or you may have a, booking company provided website, for example. And so you need to know how the booking engine interacts with your website, and you need to know how the tracking pixels and the tracking codes and the measurement tracking pieces, the technology works in those, in your website and in the booking engine companies, right? And if you're a digital agency that doesn't have that experience in this industry, very specifically in this industry, you may be led sideways and they may not be able to help you there, right? Or you just have stumbling blocks in figuring it out, right? And there's no reason for that. There's some really good companies, certainly there's us, but if you use us, great. If you don't, that's fine. You may use Tourism Marketing. You may use Chris, a tourism marketing agency. Awesome. So that's another. Thomas does a great job. Like those of us that are niche down in this business, I think it's really important to, find somebody that has the experience and works with the booking engine companies, understands it, along with your website, along with e-commerce. And I think it's really important. If you're sourcing a digital agency, well, you may want to use somebody local. They may not have any experience at all in the activity and tour space, right? They may be a do-it-all shop, right?
Yeah.
So
I think a good question might be, speaking to a digital marketing agency, how many rivals have you been to?
All three.
All right.
Yeah, we started in the beginning.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of my point. I think if I was a tour operator and I'm looking for something, how many rivals have you been to would be my question to if I'm calling up. And if many of them might say, what is a rival? Then I'd say, okay, time to move on. Yeah. And then people like you, and you mentioned Chris, that's very gracious of you. Yeah. They're here and you're here because you're learning and you want to keep up to date with the trends of the industry. And I think that is, because this, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite social media channel? What do you think is the most effective for tour operators? The answer that you give me today might be different at Arrival Phoenix next year. Because this is how quick this industry changes.
Correct. Yeah. The technology built into these platforms, whether it's Google Ads platform, Facebook advertising platform, what have you, is just moving every day. There's something different. There's something new. There's new opportunities coming out with these platforms, right? They're always evolving. It's like your website. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Absolutely.
You can't just set up Google Ads and then not look at it for a week or 2 weeks, what have you, right? It's not a set it and forget it thing.
Yeah, and of course, without getting too into politics, you look at the debates right now. People are talking about breaking up Facebook, and Twitter just said no political ads. So who knows where we're going to be at Phoenix next year?
Yeah. And, the privacy policies that are coming into play. Facebook has to ebb and flow, right?
Yeah,
these kinds of things. Yeah.
Great. Where can people find out more about your company?
Yeah, you can go to trkcreative.com, our website, trkcreative.com. Or, you can certainly just email me, tom@trkcreative.com. So just shoot me an email. That's a good way to find us,
Thanks for giving us some of your time. I know you've been very busy, lots of meetings this week, so thank you for giving us some of your time today.
My pleasure. It's been awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Tourpreneur podcast. Be sure to visit tourpreneur.com to join the conversation and access the show notes, including links to the resources mentioned on today's episode. This is Tourpreneur.